Yes.
Good evening, everyone. This is the July 15th meeting of the CB1, Manhattan CB1 Quality of Life Committee. I am Mariama James, the chair. The other chair, Pat Moore, is on a well-deserved vacation. We're going to get started right away as it's already a little bit after 6. And our first item is going to be the second item on the agenda, which is the city's handling of the Freedom of Information Law requests for post 9/11 air quality records. And we have an outside speaker, Ben Shavat, the executive director of 9/11 Health Watch, here to help us with that item. Hi, Ben.
Ben, you're muted. You are still muted. I'm going to send you a unmute request. Not working.
Is he saying you can't hear us either?
Oh, here we go.
There you are.
Got it.
There you are.
Sorry.
No worries.
So, hi. So, thank you. Hi, Mariama, and thank you for inviting me. I just put in the chat the location of the URL of our page. Little background, I was Congressman Maloney's chief of staff for many years, helped to write the Zagrova Act, and now I run two not-for-profits, a 501c3, 9/11 Health Watch, and a 501c4 for advocacy citizens for the extension of the James Zagrova Act, created by the New York State AFL-CIO to keep an eye on the issues around 9/11. I'm sure you understand the difficulties, I know Mariama does, of talking about issues that for many people are now like Pearl Harbor. But for many people, these are still issues that people are still confronting. Very quickly, just on the specific issue, in the end of the de Blasio administration, my former boss, Congressman Maloney, and Jerry Nadler wrote a letter to Mayor de Blasio around the 20th anniversary saying, it's been 20 years, you should go through the city archives and reveal what the city knew about the hazards regarding 9/11 and when they knew it. Mayor de Blasio didn't respond to that. The new mayor came in, Mayor Adams came in. They wrote a very similar letter. Mayor Adams responded, and Mayor Adams arranged a meeting with his staff at the Corp Council and Mrs. Maloney and Nadler's staff and said, we will, and I'm giving you the abbreviated version, we will reveal what we knew or the documents, but you need to get the city more liability protection. It's a famous saying in Washington, a scandal is when someone tells the truth. And that's basically what happened. And Maloney, Nadler wrote more letters, and then Representative Goldman and Nadler wrote letters. Basically the same answer. 3 years ago, my organization, with the help of two lawyers who donated their time pro bono, Matt McCauley and Andy Carboy, filed a Freedom of Information request. And people had filed Freedom of Information requests before. I actually have a separate page, which I'll show you, that documents a lot of those efforts. Let me get them for you. A lot of those efforts in the past. And what happened was I was talking to Councilwoman, now Councilwoman, but then Borough President Gail Brewer, about what could we do in the city council, what could you do in the city council to move this issue? Because the Mayor Adams refused to acknowledge the requests and process the FOIA requests. The councilwoman met with her staff and basically realized that the city council in the last city charter had been given a power under the Charter Revision Commission to order the Department of Investigation to do an investigation if the city council votes it. And she moved a bill. It took several months. The city council last year ordered the Department of Investigation to conduct an investigation as to what the city knew and when it knew during the Giuliani administration. Funny thing happened several weeks right after that. The Department of Environmental Protection, which had told us that they had no documents, said, well, we have 68 boxes. And there have been several discoveries since then. Obviously, the thought of having the DOI investigating people has motivated some action. And we filed two Article 78s, one against DEP and one against the mayor's office. And these were proceeding. We actually won the Article 78, which rarely happens, as the city was proven to act in an arbitrary and capricious manner and did not properly respond to our FOIA requests. What happened then was the city on the budget announced, and the mayor announced to great fanfare, that they were going to create a portal for $34 million, and they were going to release information or release these documents, except they've never said what those documents are. Are they even responding to our FOIA? And the night of the budget announcement, the city moved to dismiss our Article 78, basically closing the issue and preventing anyone else from filing an Article 78 in the future. The next day, just so coincidentally, we actually had a deposition that had been ordered, and I'm sorry it's confusing for me too, that had been ordered in the Article 78 on DEP, at which point the DEP records access officer testified that he had been ordered to deny our FOIA by his superior. And you probably saw the Daily News story.
Yes. Yeah, I read that.
So that's basically it. It's, we are kind of flummoxed at the moment with the city. The city says that they're planning to release anything, but they haven't told us what that is. And at the same time, they're making these statements about transparency. They are trying to have our Article 78 dismissed. And the two just don't really, it's, on the one hand, they're saying they're for transparency. On the other hand, they're not saying that they're going to release the documents that we were seeking. And that's basically where we are. We have a date in court on August 4th. Mariama was there for our decision in the DEP case in May. And we're waiting to hear back from the city. It's a long story. I probably did not do it justice. It really should not have been taking this much effort, especially from Mayor Mamdani. I mean, I don't really know why Mayor Mamdani is defending the Giuliani administration. That's in essence what he's doing. Happy to answer any questions. I'm sure you've got a lot, but everything you need to know is up on our website. There's a ton of information. Every document that we, in the court case, the logins for both court cases, and all of our statements.
Questions?
Yeah. Eric?
Yeah, I have a question. So when the request is submitted, how do they respond? Do they just redact everything, or there's no response
So
at all?
the history of it is that we filed the FOIAs like 3 years ago, and under the FOIA, they have the ability to say, well, they set a deadline and then they move past the deadline. So for the FOIA, we FOIA'd every agency, Department of Health, Department of Law, OEM, the mayor's office, and for example, DEP at some point responded and said they had no records, that they had no records of the largest event in city's history in the last 100 years. At the same time, their website tells the story about how DEP responded to 9/11. So it didn't make sense. The mayor's office, and it's there right under FOIA, for 12 or 13 times extended their deadline. So they kept saying, well, we're going to answer, but not today. We'll answer you in 4 months. And then they said, we'll answer you in 4 months. That's throughout the Adams administration. And that's really what sort of brought us to bringing in Article 78 when the city, in the mayor's FOIA, basically kept punting.
Yes.
This will be a quick one, because it's indirectly related, but have you also, FOIA, the state and the MTA? Because I know the MTA was.
Sure, we didn't
they
do
were there,
that.
they-
The borough president actually sent a letter to the governor a couple of months ago, which is also up on our website, basically asking the governor to engage in the same sort of action that we've asked for the state to disclose what records they had. But we've not FOIA'd the state or the MTA. Again, we're doing this with pro bono lawyers. I didn't think we'd still be doing this now, but obviously the city's response of basically total stonewalling and their response that they had no records, and then because of the city council's actions, turned around and said they had 68 boxes. We've looked through, and just to be clear, we've looked through the 68 boxes that they presented to us. And 66 of those boxes we said we don't care about. I mean, it's just, for DEP, it's basically reams of material that is just the printouts of air monitoring. But I actually had Dave Newman with us, who's retired. He used to be the head of NICOSH, which is the labor safety organization. He was the executive director for many years, and was involved in a lot of the response to 9/11. And Dave basically agreed with us that 66 of these boxes is basically a doorstop. What we were asking for is very specific, not the stuff at the low level, because there's tons of material. But the issue is, we knew that the city of New York, and we could talk about in detail the Harding memo. So in Wayne Barrett's book and in Anthony DePalmer's book, they managed to get copies of what's called the Harding memo, but it's not a memo from Harding. It's a memo to Deputy Mayor Harding, who was the deputy mayor at the time in the Giuliani administration. This was a memo sent in October of 2001, where the staff of the mayor's office predicted there would be 10,000 toxic claims with 30,000 people getting sick. This was in October of 2001, when the city, Chrissy Todd Whitman and everyone were saying that the air was safe. At the same time, Juan Gonzalez, you may remember, was writing columns in the Daily News expressing concern about the quality of the air. And the city's response to Juan's articles was they called the Daily News and asked them to fire Juan because they didn't want someone raising these questions. So we asked, where's this document, this Harding memo, right? Because I called Anthony DePalmer when he retired and took the buyout. He didn't keep his records, and Wayne obviously has passed. Well, it turns out my lawyers actually contacted Barrett's archives in the University of Texas, and we found a copy of the memo. And the city still, in papers, refuses to acknowledge that they have this memo. And the reason why this memo is kind of important, because this means that the upper levels of the government, when they were saying the air was safe, they actually acknowledged, and they were pretty accurate, that there would be 10,000 toxic claims. I mean, that was basically the size of the 2006, 2007 settlement. But what's more important in what we asked for in the FOIA, and you could read our FOIA, is that the Giuliani administration got Congress, the Republican-led Congress, Dennis Hastert, to limit the city's liability to $350 million in 2001. In October of 2001, we think as a result of this memo, this Harding memo. So they had to say something to Congress, right? It wasn't to Congressman Maloney or Mr. Nadler, because they were in the minority at the time. why they sought this liability protection if the air was safe. And clearly that's what we always wanted to really try to investigate and find out about. And that's really what we were looking for, is what did the mayor's office know?
Just a point of clarification, Ben, when you referred to the borough president, a little while ago, that's the current borough
The
president.
current borough president,
Brad
yes, yes. He just sent a letter and a copy of it is on our website. I think he sent it in April or May.
Okay. Mitch,
Look, before I ask the questions, my own knowledge, what's FOIA mean? I kind of think I know, but what is it?
Freedom of Information Act.
Okay, thank you. So, Ben, first of all, great work. When you said when the lawyers of the city or the DEP first testified that they had no boxes or no folders, no
DEP,
information or
yes.
anything, was that under oath or they were just saying
No,
it?
no,
like,
this
out
is,
of court?
so the actual timeline is we filed the FOIA and the Department of Environmental Protection responded and said they had no records. So that's just in a responsive FOIA. They basically said they had no records. We then filed an Article 78 because that was just preposterous that they had nothing. And that was the basis of the Article 78. Our Article 78 was pending, and then the city council took their action, ordering DOI to investigate. And again, DOI is an investigative body. They're equivalent of a prosecutor. In fact, the prior DOI commissioner was one of the people that indicted Mayor Adams. Once the city council took the action, several weeks later, DEP, the corporation council, contacted us and said, we found 68 boxes.
Okay, I was just trying to see if there was a way, like indirectly, to get something like lying under oath, that type of thing. And then I did read the article in the Daily News the other day, and it was shocking, but then confusing when the lawyer admitted that he was told not to hand over the information. Is there some, it's like, getting Al Capone on tax evasion when you know that he murdered somebody. Is there some other way, like the lying under oath thing or something that?
It's actually interesting. You can read the transcript, which is also on our website. And our lawyer, Andy Carboy, who was doing the deposition, actually turned to the city, the witness, and said, do you want whistleblower protection? Because he was basically telling the truth. And again, I don't want to put into words in his mouth, but I suspect, because that was under oath, that he was telling the truth at that time. And he was saying that his supervisor had, I'm paraphrasing, his supervisor had told him how to respond. And the supervisor was right there in the deposition. And that's when the city basically, there was some shouting, and then the city ended the deposition.
And those are the so-called patriots.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ben.
Anybody online with a question?
No questions online.
Any more questions in the room? Diane?
Oh, what can the community board do to help with this?
Well, I thank you. I just assume, you could do a resolution, you could contact the mayor's office. Again, you could come to court on August 4th and make sure Judge Kleins knows how you feel. We're asking for the judge to supervise the deposition, let us finish the deposition. We're asking that we now depose Mr. Pecuni's, the witness's supervisor. And we still were supposed to have another deposition with, this was the deposition of the records appeal officer. We were trying to depose the records officer who made the initial determination that they didn't have any records. And just to be clear, all of these machinations all occurred under the Adams administration, not under Mayor Mamdani. But under the Mamdani administration, our FOIA to the mayor's office was closed in February of this year. And that's what we filed the Article 78 on the mayor's office, because they had closed it and basically said at that time, and again, I'm paraphrasing, that we should go to the Department of Law. But we had FOIA'd the Department of Law 2 years ago, and the Department of Law at that time, in the prior administration, had said, we're not going to answer it. We're going to let the mayor's office answer for this. So it was sort of like whack-a-mole as to, which we don't think that they can, decide, willy-nilly that, they can defer to another agency, and let's say that agency is going to answer, and then say, well, we're not going to answer, go back to where, you went originally 2 years ago. So we're still hopeful. I'm hopeful that the administration will review the case on this and what's been happening, and will, do the right thing. I mean, that's actually been my quote in the papers since the election, that Mayor Mamdani could be the mayor that, answers this question: what did the city know and when it knew it? But I think the bureaucracy at this point is doesn't have the message. And in response to Corporation Counsel announcing this $34 million portal, my concern about that, and what I said to the Daily News, is that's great if they're going to release what we've asked for. An example, if they now decide they're going to digitize the 66 boxes that we didn't even want, that we looked at but didn't even want to copy, then that's just making doorstops, right? That's giving the appearance, and I'm not saying the mayor's office is saying that, but that's just giving the appearance of transparency, but it's not really transparency if it's, if it's materials that, as Dave Newman said to me, is pointless at this point.
Tammy?
Hi, thanks so much. I think one of the questions I have, because I definitely would love to see the records released, obviously, was wondering if should be doing a resolution based on the last reported information in the media that said that the mayor's office was filing a petition to not have to share any information.
The correct term is they filed a motion to dismiss our lawsuit. And that's what they did. So they announced this disclosure effort, and then 6 hours later, we received paperwork with a motion to dismiss. And it was a motion to dismiss with prejudice, which means that if the judge, and I don't think the judge is going to grant it, but if the judge were to grant it, would mean that no one else could bring an Article 78 on this issue in the future.
And I think that's something that, although we don't want to be involved in the lawsuit, we do want the records. Many of us were told very much so that Department of Health, they said it at Cipriani Wall Street on a panel, that they would not be sharing information or providing guidance until people got sick. So they were collecting information and they didn't have anything that they could share at that point. So we know that information was collected somehow, somewhere, by someone. And I just am uncertain as to, beyond the lawsuit, since this is a new mayor, I wondered whether or not, outside of your lawsuit, if we could request the documentation or be supportive in a resolution somehow.
That would be helpful, absolutely.
Mariama, what do you think?
Yeah.
Zach?
Okay.
I'm happy to help or not help or whatever Mariama wants. I'm happy to,
Whatever.
I think basically everything you really need is up on our website. We also have this other, I meant to do this before, hold on. I have another page, which actually I see Kimberly Flynn is on, who helped me from 9/11 EA. It is a list of every report and all the work that was done by a lot of other people of what we know publicly. that we put onto the website so that people could see. You know, people have tried to do this in the past, and you know, it's been an issue. You know, we're not the first that tried it. We, you know, to try to get through the city.
Again, it goes back to my question of how do we phrase a resolution that is requesting for the mayor, but doesn't get in the middle of your Article 78?
Yeah, that I
is-
can't help you. I mean, nothing's gonna. I don't think you can impact it, but you know, I can help you. I think you just need to make a general statement basically supporting the last letter from Representative Goldman and Nadler. You know, they're the ones that actually, and my old boss, Representative Maloney, started it. They've been asking for this material, and they were the ones told by the Adams administration that we have these documents, but we're not going to show it to you unless you get us more liability protection. So that's one way you could phrase it. That doesn't mention the lawsuits, but supporting the
So,
efforts.
sounds like-
Of our
It sounds
elected
like-
officials.
Anything that's public information should be fair game. Like you said, it's in the newspaper, it's all over the place, right? So we can use all of that.
And
So I
you could,
think
you could crib notes from the Daily News editorial, which is also up on the website.
Right.
That was on Monday.
I think supporting Nadler's ask and Goldman's ask for information and quoting what was said beforehand from the Adams administration would be enough for us to be able to do a resolution and then be able to vote on that and say, you know, the therefore be it resolved is that we're asking the current administration and the current mayor to release the documents and provide the information to be able to help people, you know, and ask for a deadline.
Mariama, wouldn't that, I mean, just as a layman, cross the line of, I'll give you the information you want as long as you absolve me of any wrongdoing that I caused by not giving the information. Isn't that, I mean, if we just did that like here at the community board, we'd violate the rules. You know, I mean, isn't that some type of legal, ethical thing that?
I would say
is-
ethical. It's not illegal on its own, but I'm a lawyer. But you know, it's definitely unethical in my opinion. But I don't think it would be per se just illegal. The
mean,
way
it's
it
not
was
like-
presented.
I'll do what you want and then you can never come after me the rest of my life with taxes, something like that?
Welcome to,
That's another thing.
yeah, Mitch, not a, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, do you wanna vote?
Sorry, Tammy.
We have enough people to vote? Okay, so we're gonna take a little vote to make sure we're agreeable. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you. Nice to see you, Mariama.
Second?
Second, third, and fourth.
Ben, I'll see you again soon. I'll be there in August 4th. All in favor?
Are you doing public separate?
Yeah, regular member. Okay. Anyone opposed? Public members? Anyone recusing? Any abstentions? Motion passes, we'll be doing a resolution. And so now we're ready for the MCA item?
All right. Well, thank
Is
you
it
very
just-
much.
Thank you, Ben.
Well,
Ben,
it was originally my idea, but Eric did most of the legwork on the presentation, to be perfectly fair. So if you, I mean, I could kind of sum up a little of it, and then I'd like, Eric is probably more succinct and more, you know, organized than I am. So basically, I mean, it started out that in the Chambers Street entrance to the Chambers Street A and C train, there was 3 Metro card machines. And, you know, as they were making the switch over the last, like the year before, they started taking out machines and everybody thought that they would be putting them back. And they did put most of them back, but in the entrance to the Chambers Street A and C train at the Chambers Street namesake station, they've never put them back. And there are no machines there. And the only one machine is over 3 blocks down on the, by, I guess,
Park Place?
Park Place. And, you know, it's but especially if it's late at, I'm not even talking about myself, I'm just talking about in general. If it's late at night, it's a long desolate tunnel with homeless people sleeping there. Or if you see they have the trains coming in 2 minutes and you can't, and so sometimes people have to do what they have to do. And I first wanted to say, if they need to be replaced. Okay, and then in speaking with Eric, we're thinking that there's a lot of other situations like that. And Pat Moore had mentioned, I think, the one train by where she lives, they never replaced the machine. And she had a great suggestion, like wherever there was a MetroCard machine,
There should be an omni.
machine. That was one thing. And then, because I'm on the trains and all around the city, there's many areas where there was no MetroCard machines or Omni machines. And I'm talking about the elevated trains, so you're walking up 3 flights of stairs up in the Bronx or Brooklyn, whatever, and you get up there and there's no machines. People gotta do what they have to do, and that's a danger, especially if it's in a certain neighborhood and late at night. So,
So thank you for bringing that.
that's one thing, and then after we do that, I want Eric to expound on that, or expand on that, and then there was another thing about, so I used to buy and I'm just using myself as an example, but it's not about me. A weekly MetroCard, a senior fare, whatever, and it would tell you, you put the card in, and then what your balance is, or the week is good until, next Thursday, whatever, so you don't have to refund any money. Now with the Omni machines, because it is a private company, it doesn't give you the balance. I mean, it gives you the balance, but it just says go, like when you're going on the bus or going on the train. And I know for somebody like my wife that we just put money on because she's not on the trains as much as I am, she would check the balance. I have 50 cents left on I put in money for a week, but it doesn't say and I've done more than 12 rides, but I don't know if I have to put more money in or not. And so I think as just from living in the world, that it's on purpose, because I know that I filled up my card when I probably had more free rides left, because it wouldn't give me the time that it was expired, and a whole bunch of other stuff like that, and Eric put the whole presentation together.
Yeah, and that's informing. I personally, generally, am not a fan of privatization of public works.
Yeah.
And this sort of thing would be like, why? It's horrible, because then you're forced to use a debit card or use a credit card or to hop the train, it's leaving people without options.
I can't tell you how many times
That are
I've seen
reasonable.
people, especially, like I said, I'm not just referring to myself because I'm still in good shape and healthy, but people that are not as mobile, or women with children or strollers at all hours of the day or evening, and going up the steps and then finding out that there's no machine there. And
So you're gonna get on the train, one
gotta
way or
get
another,
that.
right? So I understand the problem. And also, if you use your debit card or your credit card, and you do have one of these discounts, a student discount, a senior discount, persons with disabilities, with half fare or something, you're not getting that if you use your
Right.
your debit card. So you're losing out.
And if you go on the bus,
If I use my,
And you
And
still
I-
get your benefit?
Yeah.
If you don't use your Omni card and you use your
I
regular
have
credit
an
card
Omni.
instead.
always use my credit card.
you have to, you read.
So yours is registered. That's.
Oh, yeah,
different.
yeah.
That's different.
And-
I'm talking about, there's no machine, you need Omni, and now you're using your debit or credit card that's not
Right, that's-
registered.
no,
You're
that's-
getting your discount.
Right. No,
And if you go on the bus,
Yeah.
where there's not even any checking machine, it just says go.
Yeah.
And I've been on the bus, and luckily I've had a couple of nice bus drivers where I tap it, there was something wrong with the machine, I said, I know that there's money on it, I have it, but it just, the red thing comes up. I mean, it's, if the MTA could give you that information, then a private company could press the buttons on their IT guys with the computers and give the information too. And maybe Eric, you might have some more things that you want to show?
Well, let's, Jonathan.
There's some bias in the fact that people who, not all, but people who may use an Omni card are people who may not have the credit to get a credit card.
Right.
And they may be too young or whatever the issue is. But people whose credit will not allow them to get a credit card are going to be on the lower economic end of things, and does this privatization harm them?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Did you want to show?
Another thing I don't know if you guys had to experience their customer service, but it is awful.
Oh.
Absolutely horrendous. I
Right,
took the
right,
bus.
that's not under the MTA.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
I took the bus, I used my debit card, because I don't have an Omni card, and I'm not taking the bus every day. And I transferred to the next bus, I got charged both times,
Yeah.
so I contacted them. It was like months and months of random
Right,
email, I
right.
never got my money back, crazy.
So Marianne, can I just say something about that? Okay, so, like, and it's like, it almost sounds like it's penny pinching, but it's the principle. So I got, I forgot my Omni card, my senior Omni card. So I just bought a $3, whatever it was, and I didn't have a card, so $3.50, whatever it was. And I put in $5 and I got short of change. 50 cents, no big deal. It's not the end of the world. But I happen to have the receipt, and I'm not gonna go down to,
Stone Street.
Stone Street, which costs more to get there than, but I happened to be there for another reason in the area. So I walked over to the place and said, oh, just fill out this and, we'll, make a claim, you send it back. So she started to fill it out and then she sees, oh, it's a single ride. So if you had lost money on your Omni card, then we could like make a claim for it. But now you have to contact customer service for Omni and mail stuff in. And the thing is, this stuff is not done like coincidentally. It's done on purpose. So if it happens to you, or it's happening to hundreds of thousands of
Right,
other
you gotta
people.
multiply that.
But the first thing is when we show the first photo. Okay, the photo on the right, both photos is for the Chambers Street Station in where on Chambers and Church, the namesake station. The photo on the right is where the 3 Omni machines, the 3 MetroCard machines were. So, I mean, and it's a huge entrance, and it's desolate there, like on off hours, and it's a safety issue.
Can
And
I ask,
so-
can I ask a question?
Of course.
Apologies for interrupting. Did you do any kind of, the slides are really awesome and they tell a really good story. Did you also take a look about how far any Omni card machines are from any of the accessible entrances? That'd be a big concern for me when you're looking at something like that. To ensure that anyone who needs accessibility, and we have very little,
Right.
obviously, we only,
Before you get there.
Is there one by
Uh,
Park Place?
well,
Yes,
You
there's one at Park Place.
There's one machine at Park Place when it's working, so if there's an elevator at Park Place, then that would be, the answer would be yes there. But there's about 3 other entrances between Park Place and Chambers, but the Chambers Street entrance is the namesake entrance. And, but that's a great point, Tammy, to add to the fuel.
Yeah, and there's no elevator. You gotta go to Boston.
So you have there's more slides?
Yeah, so,
So, sorry to interrupt, you can go ahead with the presentation.
okay, so as Mitch was saying, with the Chambers Street Station, you would have to walk 400 feet, 700 feet, if you needed access to refill your card or get a new card. And Mitch had brought up that at Park Place, let's say that one machine they have is out of service. Then you actually have to walk even farther, all the way to Bessie Street, which is almost a quarter of a mile. So these type of lack of availability of services for people that don't have credit cards, and we shouldn't have to be required to have a credit card in order to ride the subway. That's why it's Chambers Street was the focus. Mitch had brought this up, that it's the most lacking. I mean, that's unreasonable to expect anyone to have to walk this far.
And also the one, I talked to you about, Eric, about this, the one right downstairs, the 4, 5, or 6 train. I happened to come the other day out of here, and I just wanted to check the balance. There was one machine, it was partially out of order, but it could check balances and you could refill it, but it didn't issue any Omni cards or do anything else. And
This is Brooklyn Bridge?
right downstairs, and one machine, and it's a cavernous thing. Yeah, and they had one like customer service guy walking around, and if you would ask him a question, it's almost like you'd be bothering him like while he's checking his messages on his phone. But I'm sure they've done this to save money and to induce, like Eric was telling me, like to induce people to use their credit cards, where some people, they shouldn't be forced to, or they're not, they can't because of their, as what Jill said. So,
My personal opinion is they ought to make the subway system free.
okay, well, I'm not saying.
Plus, I used to work, I worked for the transit authority. And I saw all the mixed-a-gosh that went with it.
Well,
The police gotta get involved, children can't pay the fare. The tourists have difficulties at the machines. If there's some way around it to make it free, like the Staten Island ferry, that would be.
I'm not saying I disagree or agree, but that's not gonna happen, and so we have to focus on
I'm
this.
just letting you know how I feel. I'm a former
Thank
employee,
you.
and I'm just letting you know. Because if it was free, we wouldn't be talking about it for the last 40 years.
So for the
Different
time
topic.
being, there needs to be like, where there were, like what Pat said, like a Metro card machine, where there were Metro card machine, and like, let's say at Chambers Street, there were 3.
You just
If we
need at
could-
least one.
If we can get,
That's all.
well, I would like at least 2, because there are so many times where there's one that's out of order.
We need at least one,
Matt-
right?
At least there were so many times where there's one that's out of order.
Yeah.
I mean, I could tell you there's by the 4, 5, 6 and J train by like, Duane and by Reed and Lafayette, that entrance, there was 2 MetroCard machines. They've been replaced by 1 OmniCard machine, and that's out half the time. But whatever you think, Eric, continue.
So then, we saw it at the chambers, this shows that there's ample, there used to be, machines, and now there's actually ample space, right?
It's the exact space where that works.
Exact same space. And then this next one shows the fare control area at Warren, Murray, and Barclay. So there is space, but this also shows the long distance that people would need to walk if they need access to it.
Yeah, and they got the thing to tell you how fast you need to run. At the time is that they put that up.
Right, when they tell you that your train is 2 minutes.
2 minutes, you got, oh, you got all that.
That's true. And then, as Mitch was saying about Brooklyn Bridge and City Hall, we were using this as an example, another large station complex in CB1, where they have one machine in each area, but what would happen if one of those?
And I sent you the picture where it said it was out of order. And
Yeah,
Oh,
here it
no
is.
OmniCards
if
available.
you can hone in the yellow thing, it's just like, not able to issue OmniCards or anything. And the thing is, when most people have their OmniCard or whatever.
And
but
what's that about?
Right.
Why the hell it was broken?
I don't know, and why is there potholes after every snowstorm?
Is it even like a full year yet that we?
No, not at all.
That's what I'm saying. Why would all the machines
but-
be broken
But
already?
the thing is, I think, other Mariam, I was just like, this area, that gets a lot of tourists. So like, when I travel overseas, I'm not signing up for like the city discount, I'm just getting something for a weekly pass or a couple of day pass. So especially, there's a reason why people would need to get an Omni card when they're just visiting like the Brooklyn Bridge area for a day or 2. So, my
Okay.
continue.
Okay, and Mitch was saying about tourists and should not be required to open up an account when they're only here temporarily.
The hotels wherever they're staying ought to be helping them with some type of.
It's only if they're using cash, right?
Correct.
They could just use their card.
Right.
That's probably problematic too, using an international
shouldn't
credit
be-
card, let's say, for example,
Yeah.
and God forbid you need that customer service. 'cause
Zach,
something's
my
not right.
wife just got her first credit card recently after moving from another country. And so, there are people that don't, and I could say that online because everything is legal. But there are people that don't have credit cards for whatever reason. It doesn't have to be because there's anything wrong with them.
So then as we were investigating all this, we looked at all the other Omni services or the lack thereof services. For example, with Omni, when you use your turnstile, it only says go. If you have an Omni card, it should tell you what your remaining balance is, as well as saying how many, the status of how many more rides you need to get.
The Metro card would say if you had the weekly pass, and I know they did away with the weekly, but the equivalent is the 12 rides within 1 week, then every ride after that is
It's
free.
free.
So with the Metro card, it was, like I said, if the IT people for the city can do it, then the IT people for the private company could do it. It would say, it expires, next Thursday, So by just saying go, nobody keeps a track of how many rides they did every single day and exactly, so like, you know, today I have 50 cents left on but I put in $18, which for me gives me 12 rides. But I'm not sure, do I need to refill it before I get on the bus tomorrow? Or do I still have another day or two free? And they've specifically just put go because you're gonna err in filling it up prematurely so that you're not stuck.
Mhm.
And then, so if you go online, it'll tell you, you know, your status before you can get free rides. We need the Omni machines to do that as well, so that people are aware, so they can actually be aware of when they have savings, not to just to rely, you know, to have to go through all this extra effort. Because if you're not aware of it, then you won't use it, and, yeah,
Question,
yes.
can you swipe in more than one person at a time?
Only if you have money, I can tell you, if you have
No,
money.
I have a
that-
follow up to that.
Yeah.
Is there an answer?
I haven't needed to do that.
I'm gonna give you the answer, Francine, because I take the trains all the time. On a regular, not on the senior or half fare,
Ah,
not on the senior or
yeah,
half fare.
right.
So I'm
you have to,
I'm
yeah.
with you, because
I've got
otherwise
people
somebody would
who
have.
can't- You can only do.
Right, if on the
You
full
gotta wait
fare,
an
on the
hour.
full fare, you can take a swipe as many as you want. But
Uh-huh.
before on the Metro card, on the weekly fare, you couldn't, and then on the senior or half fare, you couldn't.
On the regular Metro card, you.
On the
Yeah.
regular
That was
Metro card,
cash.
because
Yeah,
it just,
cash.
it's a dollar for dollar.
So even if you're with an aide, you can't swipe the person, you can't swipe their aide.
If you have a discount.
Not if you have
No.
a discount, because it would be right, like I said, just to play devil's advocate, that would be
Yeah.
ripe for fraud.
So they would have a time delay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
time, it's
yeah.
a time delay like always, like 7 minutes, 8 minutes, whatever.
But that's a good point, the aide should also have a discount.
Of course.
If you're traveling with somebody that's disabled for the purpose of
Of course.
assisting them, and they have
That
a
was gonna be
discount,
my
you
point.
should have a discount too.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I said, I give you 2/15 on the one train,
Accessory.
2/15, 2/25, 2/31, and so there's no Metro cards on the uptown side, and it's a long, high elevated train station. There's no Metro card machines.
Hey, guys, are we headed towards a resolution on this?
You're
And
right,
is this
Tammy,
the
good-
last slide?
Okay. Okay, so this is the conclusion. So Chambers Street, Park Place and World Trade Center, it's a complex, you know, they need additional Omni vending machines. You know, walking 700 feet or even a quarter mile is just, it's just unreasonable to expect
Or
people to do.
at the minimum, replace what was taken out.
So they need to replace it with Omni vending machines for quality of life reasons to reduce the burden on people and reduce the barriers for seniors, people with disabilities and residents without smartphones or bank accounts. Limited economic means. These Omni vending machines are the only way to check remaining balances without online access. And we think that's unfair because it surprises people, as Mitch was saying before. Many people don't have consistent 24/7 online access. And the Omni vending machines are the only way to pay for transit fares for those without credit and debit cards. Vending machines offer a cash payment method for tourists and those without means. We were saying earlier that we're not against credit cards and taps, but we just want to make sure that there's options for everyone, not to force people into just using credit cards and smartphones. Not everyone has it. And also minors without credit cards need access to Omni vending machines.
So like a
Yeah.
17-year-old who's gonna go visit friends,
Yes,
Yeah,
Jim?
well, don't they have there's a.
Not-
Well, now, they just, the city council just approved the city council,
But that's
for
only
all
if
students to have a discount.
isn't that only if you live a certain distance from your school? If you live within a certain distance?
I don't know if there was any loophole.
no,
Or if for every kids, it's all.
But the genesis is that there needs to be an,
Will we make the resolution from this conclusion sheet? Are these the whereases?
Yes.
I'm gonna leave that up, to you guys are better.
Yes, this summarizes everything.
Okay, so
Yes.
we want to vote on this then?
Oh, here,
yeah, let's vote.
I'm sorry.
almost, yeah, and also it's, I think.
I thought the conclusion was the conclusion.
Almost there. And the increased availability of Omnis, as somebody has mentioned, would deter fare evasion.
Right.
Yes.
I would like, oh, sorry, One thing I want to add, I think, to the resolution is that by pushing credit cards, people have to pay interest on those credit cards. And I think that is able to do.
I mean, it's just a bank account, right? So I guess it's for
Well,
people who are.
it depends on where, you can do, it depends on what.
Or we
you
can
register.
debit or credit.
Yeah, debit or credit.
Yeah.
But if you use a
Have to be
credit card,
unbanked,
Right.
basically.
but yes, but credit cards incur, it's astronomical,
Whatever you want to add is fine. I think we're all on the same page.
That's intriguing. We didn't think about that possibility.
I think that's fair to add, because if you're using the debit card, obviously it's coming out of cash, but even that is going to treat the transaction as a credit transaction, it's not asking you for your PIN number. So certainly when you're using your credit card, that is going through as a credit transaction and you're being charged interest on it, whatever your rate is.
Dan, you had a question?
I think I see it up there, but displaying the balance and, do you have anything about keeping the machines in repair or having more than one?
We did mention about keeping more than one at a location, because when one fails, then you're out of luck. You gotta go upstairs, cross the street, walk further, go downstairs again. So we did mention that they need more than one at a location.
And what Pat had wrote and sent in an email to us that, she just thought, the general rule, wherever there was a MetroCard machine that was taken out, should just be replaced, even Stephen.
I would assume that was the case.
Okay.
And then,
We're gonna go through this last.
this is the last point, where increasing the availability of Omni vending machines throughout subway entrances and exits will support the MTA bus customers. Because right now, bus stops don't provide any Omni services, such as Omni card sales, purchase, or checking your remaining balance. There's no way to check your remaining balance if you're a bus rider, unless you go at home and register your.
But those other things we used to use,
Metro card? Wait a minute.
Right, so yeah, they still have those MetroCard vending machines, but they don't sell them anymore.
Is there an angle to providing a lack of the services at the MetroCard? That they're presenting an option that has less services, whatever you want to, than the MetroCard did?
In effect, that's what's happening.
Well, yeah,
So however you guys know better, however you want to word it,
I'm just
Mariana,
trying to
Zach,
think
Jill,
about,
Eric.
I'm not a lawyer, at all, but I'm just trying to think, it's a diminishment of the services previously given through the
That's
MetroCard.
Amazon Prime News.
We were saying it's a way to compel people to just use the way that they want. They want everyone to use credit
And
cards.
if people don't know that they have 12 rides within 7 days,
That, I'm just saying to come out and say, this card provides far less services.
Yeah, we should say that.
okay, sure, Jill.
Just to be fair though, it does add a lot more ways to get on the train, digitally, using digital money where most people are using. Like this is, we're
Well,
like,
it's just the Metro.
like, yes, cash people are more limited if you own cash, but for other options, there's, it's your phone, you can use credit, you can use debit, you can get the.
But it shouldn't be either or, Zach.
Just talking about OmniCard.
There are more options, I would say. I wouldn't say it's a net less.
But
This
it's not.
specific,
Talking about specifically, I have a Metro card in my hand and I have an Omni card in my hand. Which card had better service, for lack of a term?
But now you can use your phone, now you can use your phone.
I'm just talking about the
Just
card.
card.
Say card for card, they took my Metro card and put in a card that does not provide level.
Why? What is it?
well, the
Why would you have a lesser quality card?
OmniCard you can auto reload, whereas the old Metro card you couldn't.
Well,
What do you mean you couldn't? You go
You
into.
get if online you sign up and you connect it to your card, like the Easy Pass,
Right. Zach,
however-
Zach, can I say?
That's what I have, so I don't
Zach,
go to the.
They used to have, hold on,
That's not what
they
I'm
used to
saying.
have one. I had a refillable Metro card.
I remember that they were refillable, Zach, there was. a
But Zach,
refillable
can I
Metro
just say?
card.
You could, yeah, I mean, you refill.
Yeah.
No, there was a, refill it from home.
Mitch had a question.
Zach, that's a good point,
The whole
and
thing.
what I'm saying is, that's a plus, what you're saying, but it shouldn't be an either or, that, what you're saying, what they did, that should be in addition to the existing benefits. It shouldn't be, well, we're adding that digital benefit here, and then we're removing the other benefit. I would like to see those benefits as an addition without sacrificing on the other side.
They had lots of renewal process, you could get them in the mail.
But however you guys-
Cards, they would automatically send them, yes, you could do it. There was an automatic renewal process.
So, and,
So that.
Oh, we still have the presentation?
yeah, let's be quick, this will be the last one.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's over.
Yeah, and then for the Omni, when you tap, we wanted to display what your balance is and the weekly fare cap eligibility, so people are aware, so they can actually actualize be informed about the savings that they have. And then, Omni needs to provide all MTA, subway, and bus riders who are the customers and the reason for the MTAs and Omni's existence, the physical infrastructure, also Omni vending machines and up-to-date usage displays to access all fare payment services and information to ride the MTA with equal convenience and knowledge, regardless of economic means, age, and physical condition. Yeah.
What does what does that stand for?
Oh,
Oh,
One Metro New York.
one metro, and I'm sorry, I'm back at the beginning.
Okay.
How is this gonna? I missed out on the very beginning in terms of they were asking people when they were transitioning into this. I would think, and I missed that point because this is totally confusing to me. When they started even presenting, it was like, why? It was more confusing than an asset
Yeah.
to me.
Francis, this just.
And I'm pretty
Right.
digital.
This just started, all this stuff happened after Eric and I were discussing many things, but just the whole thing started where they had 3 MetroCard machines at Chamber Street, they took them away and they never replaced them. So that's all I was asking for, and then all these other things started to come up as we were discussing things.
Yeah.
All right, so
Okay, are we ready?
that was it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Andy. It's like we were rushing you, thank you. All right, so, do we want to vote to agree to do a resolution on this?
Eric?
So everybody in support of doing a resolution?
Why not?
That is,
You can.
and public member? Any abstentions, recusals, or noes?
Hey.
Online.
No, I have a clarifying question. You're gonna make that note about machines in accessible stations, because we don't have that many. And I stuck that note in,
Yes,
right,
sounds good.
we have Bowling Green, Fulton, World Trade at Chambers, right? We don't, Brooklyn Bridge City Hall, don't know if that elevator works. And right now at South Ferry, they're under construction, so there's,
Yeah.
Right.
I can tell you, the number one, this elevator, the number 1 train on the downtown side of 231st and Broadway in the Bronx is out more than half the year.
but if we're doing
Okay.
something about access to Omni for everybody, we have to make sure that we also are very, that we tag the few stations we have on accessibility.
Sure,
That's
no,
my
you're
own
right.
comment.
You have to do this. Thank you, Tammy.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone was in favor, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
unanimous.
Erica?
I can't vote because I'm on your committee.
Right, can I lean on you for drafting? Are we leaning on Eric? for
Yeah, we're gonna use the.
Yeah, you can.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
great,
The conclusions.
okay.
The third, Mariana, the third conclusion.
Right.
Item 3,
Thanks, Eric. Yeah, Eric did that whole presentation.
Item 3, we have Kimberly, right?
Kimberly,
And I saw her before. Oh, yeah, we saw 9/11 environmental action.
yeah, do you want to have Kimberly speak?
Mm-hmm.
Kimberly, are
To
you
be able
online?
to, she wants.
Folks, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Do you want to?
Well, most of the folks here know what my issue is. I'll probably say it out loud.
Hang on 1 second, Kimberly. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get my street, this is my neighbor here too, by the way.
Diane? Okay.
When my street, 80 North Moore Street,
Uh-huh.
we have a mobile food truck who's abusing our street, residential street. It's not a commercial street at all. It's residential parking. He's abusing it. And we're not happy with him in our face every day. And we're looking to make the street designated as a no mobile food zone. There's quite a number of streets throughout the city here in Lower Manhattan. And Central Park South and East Side, quite a number of them are designated at that. So I'm looking to do that, and go forward with that. I've been in touch with Chris Marte about my issue. I've been texting him all day long, sending him pictures that I have. And,
But if you are available next Tuesday?
you have a transportation meeting?
No, we have the full board
Full
meeting.
board meeting, you should come and
You sign up to speak,
speak and present
and
it.
then you,
I'm allowed 2 minutes.
you allow 2 minutes.
I was there back in May.
He was there.
And I made my point. 2 minutes is not enough. I have all the pictures. I could send them to you and which way the other. It's
Or
quite,
so another option is you could talk to Zach.
right.
You can plan to be on the agenda for the
Right.
committee in
That would be-
September.
Yeah, that'd be
We're
great.
not here in August,
Right.
September.
That'd be great. He has my email.
Yeah, just send me the,
Can you, hand
what
these
you
out?
want,
Some-
so I
What you
can
want?
forward it to the chairs.
Oh, it's very simple.
Is that the same?
No, no, by,
What kind of food
have
truck
my
is it?
email, because one of the chairs is over
Is
here.
it- you
I've
have
got the
it?
same.
What kind of food truck is it?
One second.
I don't know if he's got it.
Also, apologies, I failed to mention earlier, we were joined by the chair for this meeting, Jill Goodkind, quite some time ago, and I didn't say anything. Sorry about that.
Way here.
Here we
Oh,
go.
Mariam,
No, it's
Mariam,
lost.
after we finish this, then I wanted to, something about the housing and the eligibility for lotteries and everything. If I can maybe bring up a point that I brought up before, after we finish with everything today, that to maybe put on the agenda for future.
Okay,
Thank you.
So thank you for your time.
of
I
course.
was looking to get the street designated. Rebecca, she knows the area very well. We don't deserve, I'm gonna use the don't word. In that area, it's undeserving. Rebecca Grill is there, Conde Verde, all really nice restaurants, people eating out on the sidewalks, and this ugly truck is in our face. People pay $6,000 a month for 1 bedrooms. They walk out in a business suit and the truck is right there. It's unfair. He's using a dummy truck to hold the spot on a residential street.
Okay.
So let me know if, while you're working with the council member, if he comes up with a solution that you
Yeah.
want, and we'll be happy to support
It
it.
seems to be saying, why
No,
not?
no, no, but we
Okay,
have to.
okay, listen, I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate your efforts to keep the city in check,
Thank you.
and God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Michael.
That.
Thank you, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for your time.
All right, sorry about that, Kimberly.
That's no problem. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, very clearly.
Oh, good. Thank you. Do you want, shall I start?
So,
Mariam, you introduced.
Kimberly of 9/11 Environmental Action here tonight to help us to create a resolution. She and I have this draft that we prepared in advance. And it is regarding a number of changes to the World Trade Center Health Program policies that would be particularly harmful to survivors. And when I say survivors, I mean survivors as described under the law, Zadroga. So if you were just in the area and you made your way home just fine and you've never experienced any health effects, you survived the event, but you are not a 9/11 survivor. 9/11 survivor is somebody who was in the area that's not a worker, not a first responder of any kind, right? That was impacted, health impacted. So under the Zadroga law, that would make you eligible for free federal healthcare and compensation for, to the extent that those things can be compensated, right? For your losses.
When you say worker, I mean, if somebody's an office worker,
So,
they would still be a survivor. They're not a responder.
depends, because some of those workers came back and got involved in cleanup, got involved in helping, and so now they're responders, even though they're not
But
policemen or
it's like
firemen
somebody who
or fire people or police people, yeah, they would be considered responders if that was the case. Somebody that wasn't employed here at all, or living here at all, that got on a plane and said, I want to go help New Yorkers and climbed on the pile, is a responder. So just to those definitions. Okay.
Can you explain, so what is the thing, I guess the thing that they want to withdraw the MTI policy, so what do they want to do that is that?
To summarize it really quick, they want to put up more barriers and make it more challenging for somebody to prove their presence and their condition
Kind of like,
in order to be covered. So with that, let me
no, I'm with you on.
Really-
Okay.
go into the more details.
So
Okay, Kimberly, thank you.
thank you all, and thank you, Mariama, for jumping on this. I'm apologizing to everyone for not being able to start video because my copy of Windows on this desktop is prehistoric. So basically, this is a troubling new policy. There was no transparency on this policy. The World Trade Center Health Program is supposed to be consulting with the Survivor Steering Committee on matters that impact the access to the World Trade Center Health Program for survivors. Some of us learned about this policy from sources other than the program, that the program was planning to impose a new maximum time interval policy for most 9/11 related aerodigestive conditions. So aerodigestive, a fancy word for conditions in the upper respiratory tract, the lower respiratory tract, and GERD. That's the digestive piece. So what this new policy means is that in order for you to get, say, your sinusitis, your asthma, your hoarseness, your postnasal drip certified for treatment by the program, you will be asked to provide medical documentation that your condition had onset within 5 years of 9/11. This is an extremely ill-considered policy that failed to take on board just a whole host of factors that have impacted survivors in a really adverse way since 9/11. So 9/11 related PTSD, for instance, can result in a delay in applying to the World Trade Center Health Program because, let's be clear, people are understandably ambivalent about the prospect of joining the program. No one ever wanted to need a program like this. And every barrier that is put in the way is going to result in people not applying but not moving forward toward getting their condition certified. And getting your condition certified is the only way that you can get treatment, monitoring, and down the line from the Victim Compensation Fund, a different program, compensation. So here it is. We're looking at a situation where the program's clinical centers of excellence, including the New York City Health and Hospital Survivor Clinic, have amassed a tremendous amount of valuable specialized knowledge and expertise in understanding and treating these conditions. But now we have a policy that is in the way of accessing that quality care. So first of all, everybody involved in healthcare has to be aware that medical records are typically destroyed after 7 years. So a lot of these records are going to be absolutely irretrievable. In addition, Mariama and I thought it was very important to set out the long and shameful history of institutional betrayal, of official denials and misinformation, and the many systemic barriers that delayed the availability of care for Lower Manhattan residents, workers, and students. So that's in the reso. We could have said a whole lot more, but we didn't want it to be 6 pages long. Getting to the ask. We think what is best is for Community Board 1 to make a straight up demand that the program withdraw this policy, which is unacceptable and unreasonable on its face. I mean, it's absolutely absurd. It's like saying, you know, bring me the broomstick of the Wicked Witch of the West. So with that, you know, I'm happy to answer questions. Oh, and I also have a question for all of you. If anyone has encountered this policy already, I'd love to hear from you.
You've
Okay.
encountered this policy already?
I try to get, without getting into personal, some records from back then. And one of my doctor's offices said, told me straight out, because that's why I kind of jumped up when she said the 7 years things. We don't have records of that, and the doctor wrote a letter stating that he did have the sinitis or whatever, like, you know, condition, you know, and the letter kind of wasn't accepted because I didn't have the medical records to back it up, but the medical records are destroyed after 7 years.
Right.
Okay, that I think you could probably keep on top of it.
Right, but I'm just saying.
Because what the requirement, even under these stupid new law policies, is that you have to have gone to a doctor. A doctor has to be aware that you had this condition already existing, that it's not
Right,
something that
but
just popped up.
It wasn't the original doctor. I mean, we're talking about like
Oh.
25 years ago. So that doctor was already 65 years old and he's not living anymore. So another doctor that when I came there, and like I said, I don't want to make this about me, but I have experienced a little something of what she's talking about.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's
You shouldn't experience it at all. I
it's
think
shocking.
somebody like you, you'd be able to, or somebody like Kimberly would be able to help you to keep on, until that was accepted, I think.
But Kimberly
But
could it be more straight on?
the reason there's a distinction here, I just want to be clear, I don't know if we mentioned that, between the survivors and the responders, like why this is a problem for us as opposed to them, is because the responders have received
Yes.
continued monitoring, right? Survivors, you have to take it upon yourself to go, you know, to the doctor. You would have had to have been checked out, and we know the various reasons why, you know, maybe you didn't do that, or maybe you thought you shouldn't be in the program, or you weren't eligible, or you didn't know about the program. There's so many reasons why survivors might not have this information, and we're the ones that need it.
After the meeting, off the record, I could just explain one or two things.
Responders are covered.
And you could tell me if it's your opinion about that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, there's some, I think I remember reading about some pediatricians or some doctors at the time that didn't buy into certain conditions being caused, whatever, result of
yeah.
9/11. So they would not have encouraged their patients and who know, and then if the records are destroyed.
So yeah, I can share a personal story to help with this. I was actually one of the people who was part of the pediatric guidelines, and when Kimberly was involved in that too. We work with doctors and, you know, obviously, medical professionals to compile, what to look for, basically. What a physician should look for to determine if their patient was coming to them presenting with 9/11 related problems, because doctors just didn't know back then. And then even when some doctors knew that that could be a possibility, some were just so, you know, just refusing to accept that as, so even my own pediatrician was a wonderful pediatrician. My kids, he literally took my kids from my GYN, you know, like, here's the baby, and he was their doctor until they were, you know, into their early 20s. He was still their pediatrician. So I'm not speaking against him, but he, and he's very famous now. But he was very much in denial, refusal that anything could be tied to 9/11. And so because of that, I got into this habit of taking my children to more than one doctor. So I was able to get them into, with an adult, who was an adult, doctor, but he saw them because it was like nobody did to look at these kind of things. Pulmonary specialist at Beth Israel, which we don't have anymore. So that's another problem, right? Just to impact all of this. And then I found a pediatric pulmonologist at NYU. So that was another avenue. And then I found, the program or the makings of the program back at that time, before it was a survivor steering committee, which I'm a member of. We were the community advisory board, and the program was basically paid for not by the federal government like it is now, but by grants. And so, because I had fallen into that and become part of that whole process, my kids were one of the first, or some of the first, to be part of the program when it officially opened. And so that was another avenue. And, as a consequence of that, I'm fortunate enough to have a few places to try to go to say, okay, I need information to try to prove that this condition has existed over a period of years. But a number of people are not going to have that. And I was telling Kimberly recently, my youngest daughter, who was not even born yet, I was almost 9 months pregnant with her, 9/11. She grew up with stomach problems that they've now tied to 9/11. But when she was in school, they used to say she was like lying, throwing up so that I would come and pick her up from school. She's doing stuff to get out of school. She's 6, she's 7. She wasn't. I had to take her to the children's hospitals. That was another avenue, Washington Heights. And she had her first endoscopy at like 7. And I needed that later on. Fast forward to when she was like 18, 19, and she's in the program and she's trying to prove GI connected to 9/11. We were lucky that we had those records at the children's hospital that she'd seen Dr. Turkic 10 years, 15 years prior. And so I say all that to say, most people are not gonna have had that experience. And so that's our worry. And why we wanted to bring this forward, because it's just ridiculous to expect people to have access to 25-year-old records in order to be able to prove certain things.
Also, I do want to reiterate what's in the reso. There really is no scientific or medical basis underlying the idea that if you're going to develop one of these aerodigestive conditions from your 9/11 exposures, the possibility of developing those conditions shuts off 5 years later.
Right.
I would challenge the program, and I intend to produce any kind of research studies to that effect. So our perspective is it's unnecessary, it's enormously burdensome, and this wasn't enforced to this degree even 5 months ago. So why do we need this now? What it is going to do, very obviously, is to end up with people being denied care because, they can't use the records. The other case that is also addressed in the reso is the case of young survivors. They don't even remember when they were sick. They don't necessarily remember how they were sick. So the idea of applying this to them and telling them to chase after records, from their former pediatricians, again, these things are unnecessary obstacles to accessing care.
Who imposed this rule? Was it any medical personnel, or was it just, or was it bureaucrats, in the government?
It's basically, I would say, at the management level of the World Trade Center Health Program. It's not at the clinic level. It's the feds.
It says the I said, it's looked like it said the EPA and the New York City Department of Health.
No,
Who's on
the,
EPA now?
no, that's part of the history.
Oh,
That's sort of why people could not connect the dots between their health effects and their night exposures.
so- oh, but who came up with this rule then? The new requirement? What entity?
The World Trade Center, the Federal World Trade Center Health Program.
On the federal level.
And we had to look in the administrative manual to see how they plan to enforce it. It's in the member handbook, but it doesn't discuss the issue of this onerous requirement to produce medical documentation.
It's sort of like a companion piece to the first item, like we can't get documents that we want, and now they want people to produce documents that they can't produce. Sort of kind of ironic.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a no-brainer to just say yes to support this.
So everybody's in support of this already without having to go through.
Right, yeah.
10 pages.
The heads of these agencies, it's like the wolf guarding the hen house, I mean,
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Thank you.
And the federal government, Donald Trump just signed the final bill for the full funding through 2090, like 3 months ago. And to now be trying to block people from accessing it seems counterintuitive to say the least.
Good point.
The
Excellent.
head of the EPA is against environment, the head of education is against education, and the head of health is against health.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not saying anything that's
No.
not true.
That you're not at all. All right, that's who we are. So want to take a vote on this now?
Yes.
All in favor? Oh, we didn't call the question. Go ahead, call the question.
Second.
Okay, all right, all in favor.
Any opposed?
Oh, you need your public?
Yeah, public member. She's in support. Anybody online?
That's him.
Kim's not there. Okay, so that passes too. All right, we're up to district meetings.
I'm back. I'm back, yes, sorry.
Great. Got you, thank you.
Is that you?
Hey.
Everybody have this?
District needs.
No.
That's
And Mariama, after this, if I can bring up something for future, okay? Thank you.
the staple being in the.
Oh, wait, but, oh,
Oh, that's terrible.
No.
you're fired.
Thank you.
Wait, when was it?
It's turned in my resignation.
Look, I was gonna say, why does that look similar to?
Okay. So, district needs, everyone is
Was there another?
familiar. Here is a sort of primer. of District needs. What we're doing. I think you probably got it last night.
Thank you.
There you go. So again, each committee is looking to put together the district needs for the fiscal 28-year budget. We just entered fiscal year 27, starting July 1st and ends June 30th. So this will be recommendations for next year, next July, starting in next July. We get to submit, this is city budget only. We get to submit capital and expense priorities. This is the list of what was connected to this committee last year. So I think the best thing for tonight is look through, see if there's anything that maybe doesn't fit anymore, this is stale, you can take it off, or it's completed. And then the worksheet that you got sort of kind of is a way to give you ideas on how to potentially create new items. I do want to kind of keep the same volume, so we don't want to like blow up the volume, because we already have a pretty high number board wise compared to other boards. We did shrink it down quite a bit last year, so I think that trend is good.
Zach, is it a moot point to expand on one or two ridiculous comments of the agency explanation, or that we're not even, there's nothing, no point in doing that?
What do you mean?
Like, I'm reading like the first, expand, the request, expand emergency public hospital services to CB1, at the couple of sites here, with, it's already a known factor that we're lacking in health services in the area of the loss of the other hospitals. And in the middle of the agency explanation says, they need to conduct an assessment first, and if the results of the assessments are positive, then the hospitals will need to create a master plan. It's like saying, like, we have to do an assessment of something that's already been assessed ad nauseum, and not to waste money on that. You kind of see what I'm saying? It's like, it's almost like double talk that, in another reason for denying.
I mean, I read that as they're showing you what the process is, and they're kind of giving you, well, they're explaining why.
But hasn't the
Why?
assessment already been done?
Why they're not doing the final step, because there are all these pre-steps, so
Right.
in a way, they're giving you a hint at maybe just picking on step one. Because they're showing you all of the steps that
Right.
it would take. So you could, and also I think probably Two World we should get taken off, because they're
Which
building that for American Express building.
Yeah, in future world.
Oh,
Those are not just gonna be right next.
and
21, that's 2035. Remember, it's still a priority. Within the next, what they say, 10 years?
That would be the.
But this is 5 years. They said 2030. That was that.
For two, yeah.
Yeah, at the very least, I think two comes off that, right?
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
you're talking about two World Trade
Two World
Centers?
Trade, because they're building that now.
right. But we could move it to 5.
You can still have five.
Yeah.
You know, we can move our request for hospital or clinic services
Yeah.
into 5. Yeah. We wanted,
Five World Trade, yeah, you already have that on there, yeah.
oh, okay.
Anyway.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. We're just taking off
Just to go to.
2 and leaving it there. Okay, got it.
I wonder if Health and Hospitals does have clinics, don't they, that's smaller than a whole hospital?
This is done. They said they're gonna do this. The food and independence promises.
Oh, good.
Wanna cut that one on?
Which one?
Is that the only place?
It's done, it's resolved.
I think, PNC Center
Oh, it's part of.
menu, but that was, John Scott.
Why, wait, you cutting it, you wanna take it away?
Well, they-
Yeah, it's resolved.
Oh, it's resolved.
Oh.
I don't know, it's really been resolved, and anyway. It's not,
It's resolved to the extent that they said they're gonna accommodate it.
oh, it's,
So we're gonna take it off. I think we still need something about, when it says they support, but they can't accommodate. We still need something about our unhoused people, specifically from CB1, getting services. Because
So I actually did just learn about a program, and I can't remember that acronym, but there is a program that does more like medical outreach for mental illness. I think it's like
Oh.
BE or something. I have it.
Is there somebody we can look up and get them to come
I
here?
can look it up and get some more information on it and maybe we focus it onto that ask instead of this more
Okay,
general.
okay.
But it's not for veterans, so that's.
No, we just need somebody to, I mean, you know, to tend to the needs of the homeless and or mentally ill people in CB1.
Okay. Cause I know.
Not just bringing more in, buffing people into,
Okay, all right, I will look that up and maybe we can use that.
What we can use?
so. Does anybody have anything they want to add to this? Because what's here has been, it's all been answered, it seems.
Something I've been thinking about, but I'm gonna just speak without enough knowledge about what I'm speaking about.
Okay.
A lot of these new services that the city is providing in terms of childcare, groceries, and all these different things, none of them happen in CB1. And I'm just wondering if we should put in an ask for some of those.
You mean like the free grocery pop-ups and all
I'm
that?
just saying, there's a lot of those. Childcare is what I'm thinking about
Mhm.
mainly, but yeah, there's a lot of seniors, there's a lot of people who, you know, who really benefit from those services, right?
Mhm.
What's the name? There's a facility on the corner, Williams and John Street. That childcare. It's right across from.
Oh, the agency for.
Yeah, what is that?
ACS.
ACS is there.
City agency.
Right, and so what is it? What do they do? How do they help us?
They help if somebody makes a complaint and they investigate, you know, possible child abuse and neglect.
But this looks like it's a facility that people could go in and has these big colorful signs and
Like a
stuff,
big,
you know,
like,
like
file
a big,
away.
yeah. It looks like a place where people walk in and there's activity going on, not just services.
Yeah, I think it's just their offices, but I could be wrong.
You think childcare for their staff?
Like, you know, when you have an office, when you have these sort of things, they have places where you gotta bring your child, right, with you when you go to an appointment there. So they got something for the child to do while you're there. That's what I
But we
thought it
don't
was,
know,
I
yeah.
could be wrong.
I
don't.
I see it, I have no idea what it
Yeah.
is, I just, looks interesting, I haven't gone in,
Yeah.
but it just looks like something that,
And it's a city agency? It's-
I don't know what it is, except it's a space that has nice signage that says children.
No, it's the
and
city agency,
come.
it's ACS,
No,
but I don't know, yeah, what
What it is,
what they're doing in there exactly.
right,
Ask them.
I know, I have to take the next step.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a friend, she worked part-time as a senior in the personnel department of ACS, and they recently moved office, they moved locations. But I don't know anything about it. But you're.
And I have a friend that has a nonprofit that works with people to try to keep their family out of ACS.
For prevention.
Yeah. Providing different services. I don't think you want to go to ACS, but that building does look very welcoming. I know what you're talking about. So I was just figuring that.
Yeah, I mean, I think,
You have to go to an appointment, yeah, you gotta bring a kid with you.
well, it doesn't even give me that feeling that it's
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
We don't know,
Yeah.
we're just guessing.
No, yeah, I'm definitely guessing. But it's ACS, so that's the only reason I would think that. I'm like, that's a place that most parents don't want to go. So maybe that's why they made it look welcoming, yeah.
Which is actually a very positive thing.
Yeah.
We have childcare down here, it's insanely expensive, as I had discovered being a grandmother. I mean, like $40,000 a year. So no one
Well, they have that cocoon, that club
And
where the
it's-
grocery store used to be.
But they don't realize people down here are not all
Wealthy.
and people will come and work, and people like to use daycare near where they work as well. And.
That one phone fire.
There was a woman with the
Right,
Board of
right,
She came over to
right,
town,
right.
to live
So
volunteer,
are they-
and she had a baby in her.
Something else like that gonna go in its place?
Not that I'm aware of, but I don't know.
And that's one of the things we're exploring. I work for Manhattan Youth, is we're exploring the 3K, but at like a more reasonable cost. But I
Yeah.
do know there's supposed to be some, it can be like city funded. I mean, that
Yeah.
would help us, but there's so much work that needs to
So
go
is there something that
into
we could put down on this
creating.
to help with that?
There's a lot of work we would need to renovate and do all of that.
That would be wonderful.
I mean,
But to operate preschools, you have to have like bathrooms need to be a certain, like there's a lot of construction that to have places to like open more, you know.
Right.
But could we, I'm saying, could we put on our district needs then, that we
Are they-
wanted?
3K.
I don't know, yeah.
Yes.
Affordable.
what was Bright Horizon? What was
We
that?
don't necessarily have to
Just,
say Manhattan Youth, we should say it if we're
Right.
allowed to.
Oh,
But-
programs for
I mean,
work.
No, it's
Didn't the mayor want to do
children.
some?
Yeah.
But it's 2,000 seats, I mean, but we need it, whatever it is, but it's 2,000 seats, it's not enough for everybody.
Nothing yet.
That's fine.
We were looking at 3K, not doing younger, just because it's even harder to,
We need younger. We
I
need
know.
to-
Yeah,
and that's.
and it's always been an issue.
All
It's,
of
it's,
it.
it's not a new thing that like we should have this figured out by now for the parents that are coming along now. My son went to Finest Care in one police plaza with the police, with their kids.
Really? I didn't know they had that.
Because that was like a scale, so I was able to, I forget how much I paid, something like $100-something a week or whatever. That was a million years ago, but yeah.
Places for, because I remember years ago, they used to have a lot of places down here for the city workers to bring their kids in.
I don't know.
And
They just opened, or they're going to open one in this building.
In this building? Okay.
For people who work in this building.
oh, we should have it in every building.
Yeah, but maybe like other people could get in, because like I got into the police building, I wasn't a cop, but I got in there.
Hopefully there'll be some type of.
Can I make a
for
suggestion or a
local
comment?
Community members and stuff like that, there'll be like, some considerations, I would think, I would hope.
Tammy?
So, Zach should poll for this dialogue and conversation, the available seats in 3K and pre-K. Because if I remember correctly, we had several pre-K centers and there were widely availability in Lower Manhattan that they had too many seats in Lower Manhattan. Now, that being said, we do have a large amount. We have, over 5,000 units that will be built in the next 5 years. But Zach should be able to pull that data to be able to have this conversation more robustly.
But
Or how
pre-K
many-
is not daycare.
Pre-K, Jill, there are full day pre-Ks and half day pre-Ks, and you can sort and search by each.
Got it.
It's 3K.
3 years old, this was 3
Oh.
years old, another one was 2. So when my kids were little, it used to be based on whether or not they were potty trained.
Mm.
You couldn't just send them because of the age.
Yeah. That was what was 3-year-olds.
Yeah.
So just a question, so for the ones that say agency supports but can't accommodate, we obviously keep the ones that we kind of want to continue to push, right? But do we,
I don't think so.
do we like amend, do we add to it? I don't know, like, or is there
I
anything?
think it's a little case by case.
Yeah. okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I think like this PEP officer one, where they say that didn't reduce the PEP officers, that would probably, and I think the Parks Committee handles this one, I believe, it's sort of joint with you guys. But I would say they should amend that to, take that feedback from the city that they didn't actually reduce PEP officers. They should say, they want more. If they still want more. And the last one here, I think this is good feedback that from the city, and you guys can think about how you want to handle this, but you requested veteran Section 8 vouchers. And HPD is saying that that's a federal program.
It is, yes.
So they're saying this is not a city budget thing, this is a federal item, so.
But it would come through HPD to be applied here, and I know that for a fact, because I was working with Ahmed Tagani on a couple of us, not just myself. Jill was there too, with, on applying some specific veteran Section 8 vouchers to 5 World Trade, and it was gonna come through HPD, originating from HUD.
Right, so they're the pass-through, and they said they're basically saying they're happy to use that, they use themselves as the pass-through.
Oh, okay.
But it's limited by the federal availability.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So do we leave it on here? Do we?
I mean, it's really a federal issue from their perspective, they're kind of trying to guide you and say, you should be pushing for federal law.
Approach the feds.
So if you wanna, take it off the city budget and move it into some kind of federal efforts, do that.
Is there any housing, other housing thing we can think of that the city has in New Orleans?
Not still in the tower.
Well, yeah, besides that, but no, but in preserving existing housing, I'm throwing out spaghetti on the wall.
Yeah, I mean,
It's our biggest issue.
yeah, and I don't,
Can we jump on the jail site with this? That we want the housing there, yeah. Yeah,
With the budget,
there's already a movement to put housing there instead of that jail.
Can we,
I don't know if we can put it here though, that's in that.
yeah,
they-
you can, I mean,
did you ever get a guarantee from 5 World Trade Center? Or it was the last?
can't talk about.
All right. Look, I just remember that meeting being blindsided.
Weird.
five, I would say is state, that's.
No, I mean, I didn't mean for this, but I just meant.
No, I mean, the jail, the mega jail. Can we put that on here? Do we want a housing?
Yeah, you can put that there, you could do, or you could do like housing more in general too,
Yeah.
like, so you're not limited to that site.
Well, we want housing more in general, we want housing at that site also.
Yeah.
So does that have to be 2 separate items?
Is there any other, that city
Probably, I would
funds
say.
to go towards housing, right? That's legitimate for this.
Yeah, it is.
More affordable housing, because we got enough.
Yeah.
So-
A lot of luxury.
We're doing affordable housing, with, in general. We're doing affordable housing at the site of the mega jail.
Right.
And we're doing a request for, funding for, pre-K 3. And if we,
So,
I thought she said 3.
well, that's for Manhattan Youth, but we need,
We were gonna look at the.
yeah. Zach's gonna see, can you see if there's any K2 down here?
So maybe
Yeah.
that's 2 items also. If we're allowed to do one specific for Manhattan Youth, we want to support that. And then we can do
Yeah.
one in general.
There is a new program that this mayor is rolling out, B to 2, which is birth to 2 years.
That's what we don't have.
And they're gonna start that in the fall in limited locations.
So
Is
that's,
that the thing that's only 2,000 seats though?
it's limited, I don't know what the number is, but it's limited, but you could ask.
Try to get one of those, the infant and toddler programs.
You could ask for that for sure.
Let's
Okay.
ask for that.
So affordable housing in general, affordable housing at the mega jail, birth to, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Too.
Birth to two, in general, and then if we can do the, specific, the Manhattan Youth Program. Those are our 4 things.
I think those are really good quality of life issues.
3K.
Do we need any more controlling in terms of construction? Or we have, I mean, there's so much
I
construction.
was thinking about that too, also around the mega jail, like maybe this is a good time to start asking again. If we can get like HEPA filters and stuff for people.
Yeah.
and-
We need it if they do that tower.
Yeah,
Can
we're
I
gonna
ask-
need it, the goal, we're gonna need it, like,
Yeah.
so maybe like a general ask of when these buildings are going up, or when old buildings are being demolished. That it's automatic that they give out.
Is it also in our purview
Filters.
to ask about, you know, what happened in that Midtown, the Pfizer building?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's quality of life, but to make sure that whoever is contracting to build these buildings is up, that everything's up to code. So,
We don't know, I think we need to know what happened with that building, if you wanna be, trying to mitigate for something like that, and that developer does have a project.
He does.
Is that the meeting one?
And
Or did they get one right? Of Water Street, John Street.
How we would put this, but my main issue is couple of city planning, enforcement and street cleaning. City planning in terms of, is there a such thing in terms of, do they look at an area and decide, can they decide that it's oversaturated with X, Y, Z? I mean, are these things taken into
I don't
consideration
think they do, because they,
before, and if they aren't, why not?
except with the intention to oversaturate them. Because the same areas are constantly
And
getting
if you're
shelters, constantly getting
if you're
jails.
gonna over saturate them, what are the amenities or things that you're going to put in place to absorb all of the extra stuff? Because like down here, every time they build a new building, they're tearing up the street. You know, they have to put more, we're talking about infrastructure. So that means that they're putting what, 1,600 more apartments? That means all of that, all those 16 resources for 1,600 more apartments. How many more people? Just like, and just to think about what they're doing on Cliff Street. Every time I walk by that little square and think about what they're getting ready to put there, it's like, who
It's gonna
thought
be
about that?
nothing compared to.
Why?
It's gonna be absolutely nothing compared to 100 gold. 100 gold is close to 4,000 units on a street that already is supposed to have the capacity for 2 lanes and parking.
Okay, so,
But does
all right.
not, already has triple parked ambulances.
Right.
Leaving only one
no, so we
lane
don't.
of travel.
So why, how do you get to put this up without answering those other questions?
I mean, those big
Those are the-
developments do go through
I'm gonna answer that.
environmental impact statement process, a draft environmental impact statement and.
And if
But
I-
only after it's already proposed and they're
Right.
planning to
It's
do
like
it.
kinda-
Right.
I think what you're talking about, I don't want to speak for you, but I think what you're talking about is earlier on, like when you're planning, so what can fit here, what could go here, what is appropriate.
And we have
for
here,
a diff- for-
so we have all this stuff for dinner, what can we serve you, how can we serve this,
It's not
what can we
appropriate
do
for-
here?
That's
I mean,
If
it's
you're gonna have
a,
it.
yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, that's the way my mind works, you know?
I think with all these buildings being converted, if you walk past 40th Street and they're just bringing out all this stuff and it's covered in dust and they're doing asbestos rebate on.
Well, what they just did and took me the parade to really understand what they were doing to that building right there where Zara is on the corner of William. And that it's like all these why do we need more luxury? I mean, right there, they retrofitted that.
That goes to your point about the planning. We already know from our senator that we have one of the highest vacancy rates in the entire state and the greatest loss of affordable housing in the entire state. So if
Right.
you're planning, you would not be planning for more luxury market.
Yeah,
rentals.
so
And
why-
you're planning to replace the losses.
Yeah.
So it's no planning, it's just doing. Just
Yeah.
doing.
I have an item. So the New York City Planning Board,
Is there such thing?
planning commission, so
Okay, what do they need? I need to go to one, I need to go to one of their meetings.
they fund 5 seats for people from.
From the communities.
Oh, they do?
No,
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 she
they
should
don't.
ask, we should ask.
That's what this is.
Yeah, not really a budget.
City should budget for 5 community seats on the
It's not
planning.
like the rent guidelines board have five, that it has public, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can we do that? We need to, that's, we need to,
Yeah, it's not really a
we
budget.
can't. Not, I mean, may not be applicable to this, what we're doing right now, but it's definitely something that we need to.
And then just one day meetings that you're paying the butt, it's probably the only option.
Can I jump in and ask a couple questions?
Of course.
How does the committee feel about asking for more inspectors for DSNY to help clean up Canal Street?
What, that was one of my things on my list and for street cleaning, cause to walk
But-
down Fulton Street and to see all of that.
Just keep in mind of
Wonderful
what I'm
records.
asking for, Francis. I'm asking for inspectors, DSNY inspectors and enforcement, which is the only ones who can do the street vendors. I'm not talking
No.
necessarily, but I mean
It
to,
all-
Mm, What is-
I think it all, for me, in my head, it helps the whole process.
Those
Yes,
aren't,
enforcement is a big issue here.
those aren't, but just to kind of point us in the right direction, those aren't legal, and DSNY really only works on
That's a
the
police thing.
legal vendors, they would be police, so
Oh.
I think you would ask for police. And if you want, you could wrap that into,
Zach, if you remember, in order to, the whole problem that we have is DSNY is the one who collects with, like, the counterfeit goods are a DSNY collection now.
Yeah.
They're not NYPD. They have to be found to be counterfeit for NYPD, but the collection and the enforcement has to do with DSNY. That's what we learned on Canal. So that's what I'm asking. I mean, it's a question that you can certainly investigate because it's not like you have to make a decision now and you should have
Yeah.
the backup for it. But if I remember correctly, DSNY enforcement was very minimal.
I mean, I just know that, the
For street vending,
precincts-
for street vending though, that's one of the things they enforce vending regulations.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
so that's-
but the illegal goods, the NYPD is the one who, actually like confiscates the goods and does all that, so I agree with you for vending issues in general, but I think those specifically, the counterfeit goods is more PD.
So they also do the
You
mobile
could
food
wrap-
cart
Wrap
vendors.
the PD thing in for the ticket vendors and the battery too. You could make a double ask for that.
Yep.
Can
I
I
mean-
can I just ask a general,
I mean,
comment?
for me, Zach, DSNY, hold on, Mitch. DSNY does mobile food cart vendors
Yeah,
and they do street vendors. And that is
Yeah.
part and parcel to the problems that we have is that we don't have enough enforcement. Yes, on general vendors, they work with DCWP. And yes, they work with NYPD, but they don't have, if I remember correctly, from the asks that have been made over the past few years, they do not have enough inspectors to be able
Correct.
to do enforcement.
Yes, that's also true, yes,
So we can request that.
you can.
Okay.
And then I have something.
I just wanted to, first of all, I agree 100%. I mean, and the vendor thing with the merchandise has really been getting even more out of hand. But I would just like to make the distinction, and maybe it already is, between those vendors and the Chinese fruit and vegetable vendors more west of, like, say, from Baxter going more west, where that's not a problem, that's an asset to the community. You know what I'm talking about, like on
It's not the,
Mulberry?
it's not the same thing of what we're talking about, Mitch. We're talking about illegal street
She's only,
vending.
she's only talking about the illegal.
Okay, no, good. I just wanted to make that distinction. Thank you, Tammy.
You're
I
welcome.
agree with, yeah, I agree with everything Tammy said.
I mean, to your point, even if the community feels, from what I understand, even a handful of those people, you know, these illegal ones that we're talking about are part of the community. So it is challenging to have to say, yeah, we want to send out police, because it is true. Part of it, a few of those is part of Chinatown. I mean, for decades, people have been coming from far and wide to go to Canal Street to
But
meet
it's
these
gone through
vendors.
another whole
Just
thing.
become completely overrun, and it's unlivable at this point, so
I just
something
wanna
has to be
protect-
done, but you don't wanna change the culture of the neighborhood
Right.
either, you know?
I just want to protect the fruit and vegetable people,
Yeah.
because they're better quality and half the price of Whole Foods.
So my question is, what is the purpose of city marshals?
My friend is a city marshal.
Aren't they costs?
What purpose? What do they do?
Some of the stuff that he does is process evictions, make collections, if somebody owes something to the city, owes money to the city or whatever, he goes, he has a gun, he collects.
Collect.
He removes people from their homes that they've been evicted,
And why
and they're refusing to
Why,
leave.
can they do enforcement? I mean, instead of
No.
having, I would much rather another agency take over or area rather than have the police do this kind of enforcement. I'd much rather them do the stuff.
No,
that-
not a marshal. A marshal's not a city employee necessarily. They're a contract employee.
But they would go after people already
Really?
convicted, not the people that are selling aren't convicted yet. I mean, I think there's a
So
thin
people
line.
that owe judgments, or
Right.
fines or something.
Yeah,
That's
they're-
what-
Show on TV,
You also don't have to specify like exactly how they do it, you can, you don't have to say, we want police officers from the first precinct, like you can be a little more broad and then you can let them sort of solve how it gets done.
I don't know, I think the committee's trying to be careful about being responsible for sending in some kind of authority that may,
Yes, cross the line.
cause harm,
Yeah,
cause harm to the community.
'cause we had this. whole
Although we
thing
want
about
to, at the same time, there's a problem that needs to be
Right.
handled. So like, what is the
Veterans on the Brooklyn.
the appropriate sort of place in the middle that we could meet at
And
to get that done?
An enforcement agency
Right.
that deals with these kinds of things, because we.
What you're talking about is the
we had a
sheriff.
handle on the Brooklyn Bridge
A
stuff.
sheriff?
It's
Oh,
the
right,
New York
okay,
City
sure.
sheriff. That's what you're talking
Exactly.
about. Because when you're talking about a marshal is not a city
Okay,
employee.
all right. I have
Or a
the wrong
contract
company.
employee that is paid by taking a percentage of the fees that
Okay.
they collect through evictions and stuff like that.
Okay,
The New York
Legal
City
monopoly.
sheriff is
Okay.
somebody who is responsible for basically a civil law enforcement agent. And the-
okay.
And they are the
That
ones.
sounds like somebody.
That's
I
what
would
you're
meet.
looking for. Yep. And they are
Yeah.
the ones, I mean, but they do,
I think they do more property stuff.
they do more, yeah. I
Well,
mean,
maybe
we
you
had,
can expand
if
their
you-
duties.
I mean, if you remember, we had issues with city and state sheriffs with the cannabis stores. I mean, I'd have to look back because I remember
Oh, okay.
we talked about it like a year, there was a lot of stuff in the media.
I got
But it-
customers. Okay.
It's really, the sheriff does,
You
yeah,
have
like Zach
somebody-
does, more other stuff.
And I've noticed when they cleaned up Canal Street a couple of times,
They do-
they just
they
moved
don't-
around the corner.
They just what?
When they've cleaned up
So-
Canal Street a couple of times, they've just moved onto White Street and Walker Street and a couple of, they've, the vendors
Oh, you're talking the vendors.
have just kind of went onto the side streets in.
They're everywhere. It is overrun.
Okay, I'd like to make a suggestion that we invite that agency in to give us a presentation in terms of who they are, what they do, and how they do it. Because that's a resource that we can use. I want to know about it, if it can help.
Can't really use them, but yeah, you can still hear about it.
No, in terms of,
Oh, the precinct comes, so that why wouldn't the sheriff, why wouldn't?
no,
They're
I
just
just want to know who they are and what it's a functioning part of the city
They are,
that could possibly enhance our work.
they're under the Department of Finance, so I can reach out to them.
The sheriff's Department of Finance?
Yes.
However,
Well, maybe the financial crime that the vendors are committing and sheriff.
Well,
Not
it
the
is,
sheriff
it is a
there.
financial crime. It's a patent crime, of course it's a financial crime.
I'm trying to,
So if we're staying
So the sheriff.
on, if we're staying on ideas of like big 311 complaints, the vending, illegal vending, or just vending in the wrong areas is a big complaint. And then, I would say second is, illegal parking. So you could ask for more parking enforcement, because that's.
But I think the
that's number
community
two.
is not gonna like that one because they're gonna say what we need is placard
That- right.
parking enforcement. They're gonna say the reason I don't have a place to park is because these people are parking
Right.
all over the place and taking up all the metered parking.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah, parking enforcement and.
So we will ask for placard.
But it's not,
Placard parking.
getting, the
enforcement.
parking enforcement will not enforce the placards, they'll just enforce the one person coming in from Long Island that's just leaving their car for a couple of seconds to get their order from the Chinese restaurant on the corner. So
Mitch,
if you
don't
say,
be negative. Don't make it the worst case scenario. Try and be optimistic on getting something done.
I retract
Seriously.
that comment. Yes.
No, but
okay.
that, I think that if we said just like parking in general, I think that our community, which we also represent, the residents and the commercial, the businesses and stuff, would come back at us because one of the huge problems, on my street, the whole street's taken up. It's metered parking technically,
Right.
but the whole street is taken up by official cars.
Right.
official card, and then,
So
well, what about all, I mean, I guess.
what should be a
we're bringing
legal
money to
public
the
space
table
is not available because of these
filming and
placards.
the events
That's what I
and
meant. That's what I meant, Tom.
We want enforcement of placard, yeah, getting rid of them.
I got so pissed off when they closed off like Exchange Street because they were having a big party at Cipriani's.
Hmm.
And
Well, look what you're, sorry. These were-
But to your point before about the planning,
Think about.
Alan
that
Gerson, do you
particular
remember
cost.
this bill?
Yeah.
because we worked for him.
The Swift.
He had this bill that he was trying to get through, I think, before he, like, probably right before he left. That whenever there was like a new development that went up, certain things would be required, like you have to make sure that there's school seats in the area, if it's like residential. You have to make sure there's a grocery store, you have to, you know. he wanted-
hello.
Yeah, it's like,
Basically my point.
yeah. I don't know how we could put that into, we want this, but
Wait, whose bill was this?
Alan Gerson.
I don't know.
I think I may have made a comment a long time ago, any luxury building that is coming into construction without an affordable housing component, even if it's 80-20,
Well.
then they
that's what you
need to have some amenity, whether it's to the area transportation, the area school, the area parking, the area grocery store, some type of trade-off. If,
That was always supposed to happen.
Well,
It used to.
it
when-
does, I don't think it's,
But I think now, unless it's just as of right where they could do whatever they want,
That's
they have to put in at least 20%. I think Hopewell did something, we have to.
but there are some, aren't there are some, every building that's coming up, like these $1 billion,
Okay, this is a policy. thing.
Yeah, I-
Stick to the budget.
Yeah.
okay,
I think we're.
another attraction of mine.
So I think we got with
Yeah.
what we can,
Okay.
I guess.
So from 311, illegal parking is number one with over 24,000 complaints.
Are you looking at the 311s?
Yeah, number two is vendor enforcement with 21,000 complaints. And then number three is, noise complaints. And four is, homeless person in need of assistance.
Okay, so I wanna. see.
Yeah, my comment is only based on our immediate area.
No, this is CB1, this is specifically CB1, this is.
In terms of noise complaints, is there a breakout for that?
There is.
Are they talking about noise from bars, restaurants or construction?
Commercial noise, which, I'd have to look if there's a breakdown for the commercial.
Cause I'm thinking in terms of like.
I would say
like-
some of it's construction.
Yeah, I think a lot of people saying, you know, it's not supposed to start as early as 6,
Yeah.
but there's the noise.
So good faith probably, it's not from,
Some of it's
Parties
bar,
and
some of
bars
it's
and-
bar, there's a whole bunch of loud music ones. Yeah,
Probably many sources.
yeah, and some can be, these are commercial, so there shouldn't be individual ones.
the hours. People ask.
All right, you wanna like recap what we did get, I guess?
Okay, so right now you, and I'll clean this up, but you removed the section 8, because that's federal. You removed the Independence Plaza food request. You did the, took off 2 World Trade. And then, I think move that to conduct a community needs assessment by health and hospitals, right? Or the state. Because if you look at the answer there, then.
Oh, they said they gotta do an assessment, yeah, okay,
So do
Well,
that makes
step-
sense.
Step 1.
that makes sense.
Hey, Zach, can't you ask then for them to fund a study based on the amount of housing? Can you change that to be, with the housing in the pipeline to do an assessment?
This
Or
is
is it-
for.
For
the
hospital.
hospital you're talking
Yeah.
about?
Right, or do you need to wait for census? I mean, that's the question that I would ask.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I think this asking for the assessment. And then one item for more affordable housing and one for at the Borough Jail. More B2 or birth to 2 childcare. 3K at a 3K program at Manhattan Youth. Enforcement for ticket vendors in the Battery and illegal goods sellers, counterfeit goods sellers on Canal. Vendor inspector with DSNY. Placard parking enforcement. And that was it, right?
I think so.
Okay,
And the birth to,
yeah, B did too.
Oh, yeah.
I got it.
yeah, that's, we want to be considered for a site.
Yep,
It's
yep.
specific.
Yeah, in this district, CD1, yeah. Okay. All set?
John,
No, finish with this and then.
No, just finish.
Okay.
Okay.
Mitch has something for you.
So, and I brought this up before to Jill and to Mariana about the certain eligibility for the lottery buildings for income requirements. I don't know what agency to get to, but I'd like to start the conversation, because I know a bunch of people that, let's say, let's say it's, the lottery is, the apartment is for let's say $1,000 a month, and the income, you need to make between $34,000 and $38,000 to qualify. So, because it's 1/3 of your income. And I know people that are paying more than $1,000 a month, but they make less than 36,000, and they're paying up to half or a little more of their income in rent. So I would like to propose that, and if that two ways to qualify for the lottery buildings. You meet the minimum to maximum threshold, or if you make less than the minimum, but you can prove that you've been paying at least that much or more in rent than what the apartment that you're applying for is going for 1 year, for 2 years, for 3 years, whatever it is to be verified, that you should also qualify for that lottery, because you're the exact person that needs it, and you've proven you're a good tenant. So like, it's almost like you don't qualify for the apartment because you make too little in income, but meanwhile, you've been paying more rent, you've been paying $2,000 a month in Bushwick, because you don't qualify for the lottery in this other neighborhood where the income is higher, but the rent is actually lower. And I like, you make let's say there's the rent of $15,000, $1,500 a month, that's $18,000 a year. So that would be an income of $54,000. But let's say you're paying $1,700 a month, and you're only making $45,000 a year, but so you're sacrificing even more and proving you're a good tenant. So it shouldn't just be because people that, and they're pretty anal about, like, if you make a few dollars less, or you just don't qualify number wise. But I would like to expand the eligibility if you can prove that you've been paying at least that or more in rent for a certain amount of years, to prove that but it's like half your rent, half your income. So I was just wondering, I kind of from the periphery had brought up to you, Jill, and brought up to you, Mariana. Listen, there's gonna be fraud in everything, but on the surface, I feel it's very ethical. And even if you are in that income range that qualifies, they go through your past, where you lived, and they go through your taxes and everything like that. So it would be no different. That, you give your taxes, you get they check your landlord previously that you paid your $1,800 a month rent on $40,000 income. But, for the last 2 or 3 years, you should qualify for that apartment that is now $1,250 a month, but your income is too low according to those metrics.
That's a good idea, Mitchell. It encourages motivation. It gives people motivation to try to fit in that category.
And I know people that
to do right for.
I know people that have been paying more than half of their income for rent, so that they're not in some like hovel, like in a terrible area, and they're the exact people that deserve that, but they make too little to qualify because of those numbers.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, just devil's advocate, I think what the city would say is the whole point of the bans is so people aren't paying 50%. The idea is that they can pay a number that they can actually afford.
But it's not
no,
working.
that's
Which is 30%. And what you really should be advocating for is housing with lower AMI bands, so then they could then pay 30% within a lower
I'm
band.
not disagreeing with that, but right now, so those people, like, if that happens, great. But right now, there are lotteries that are active, that have been active, that are coming up. And those are the people that are losing.
Almost every lottery, at least as far as I know, every lottery is already oversubscribed. So,
But that's not an, that's not a,
That's not.
Yeah.
that's not, like I said, if there's I don't know how to say it.
meaning there's enough people who want the income bands that are there. So if you want lower income bands, you can advocate for lower income bands.
No, that's not even, the people that,
Another.
we're not talking about the low income, we're talking about if a person is, I'm just gonna be repeating myself, in that income band, if the person has proved that they can pay that rent,
No, and an
And-
income higher than.
and they're paying 50% of their income, I mean, it's not like, what do you want them to, you want them, then if they're gonna pay 1/3 of their income, they gotta move to like, far out in Pennsylvania or Connecticut where I mean, you can't always,
Like, we could ask for that income band, whatever that person is making in the neighborhood. I think that's the cleaner,
I would like,
and
okay,
then they pay less rent, and they get to live there.
yeah, that's gonna be, because we were just in the meeting the other day with the,
It's because there's already a policy for it, and so you just.
in fact, I was at the land use meeting the other day or something else, and they had these new buildings, maybe it was the World Trade Center stuff, or about the affordability thing, and it was like, the AMI was like, the average of 60%, I think, was the thing, and so you had to make $70,000. And let's say for a studio, and I forget what the studio was, let's say the studio was $1,800. But let's say you make $50,000
And you.
and you're paying like more than that. I'm sorry, you should qualify for that as a secondary entry level.
Or you could ask for 30% AMI.
It was, but the
Yeah.
30% was,
That's not his point. His
But-
point is
I
that
think both of
people
those, Zach.
struggle
Right.
so much and they have no choice but to pay. If they've proven that they can pay this higher amount,
Right,
because they have to.
And now somebody that makes more than them is getting to pay
and like I
a
said,
lesser rent.
Right.
I'm not saying they should jump the line, Zach. I'm not saying they
I
should
know
jump the
what
line
you're
as the
saying.
lottery. I'm just saying they should qualify for the lottery of
As
the,
much as the
under
person who makes
income
more than
or
that.
under that you've proven you've paid that rent, and then you're in the lottery, then it's just the luck of the draw, like the when the draft, the basketball draft.
I have to
Maybe
think of a
that's something
concise way
to
to
like
say that, but I
ask.
get it.
Maybe that's something.
I mean,
to
what
ask
I've been,
the
Jill will tell you, what I've been saying for
policymaker.
years is what needs to go is the AMI itself.
Yeah.
This is a metric that was created in 1930.
Right.
So this is based on a single white male,
Right.
right? Being able to, so not single, married, white, with family, but single income. Him being able to provide for his entire
Right,
family.
right.
That's on what it was based.
So that's,
And that is not necessarily how families are comprised today.
and I agree with
So the
everything
whole
you said.
thing needs to go.
I agree with everything you said, and I agree with what Zach said. But in reality, what's happening today, in the situation that we're in, what I'm saying doesn't, they're not mutually exclusive. So I would just like to make a resolution to the powers that be, that if you're below the minimum income, but you've paid more in rent for the last 2 years, say, and you could prove that you've been a good tenant paying the rent, that should be a second way to qualify for the lottery. And I just was wondering if you
That's
guys,
what you're saying, but I'm saying another way at it, maybe get rid of the whole thing. If we're talking about it being based on a system
Right.
that was created before women could even have their own bank accounts. No, but this is the reality of it, right? A woman could not have a bank account, could not pay rent, it had
I
to be
agree
a
with you.
man, and that's gone. So since that doesn't apply
Right.
anymore, let's get rid of
But
it and do something
Have
that
it
applies
open
to
up.
everybody. Or if you don't-
Mariana, I agree with you, but I'm saying that that's gonna be a long process. So at least for the process now, like, they're not mutually exclusive, but that's a longer process, and I agree with you. But, okay, do you guys?
Speaking of radical ideas, can we close the official meeting?
Well, hold on, this, okay, so I'm off the radical
But we're not
ideas.
meeting, we're not putting that on tonight's agenda. Can I just close the meeting?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So can you put, like, my